Greetings viewers. I think this video has been a long time coming. I've been meaning to document the struggles of a enormous project by somebody with no money and just sheer industriousness. No time, I'll add to that as well. So this is Margot behind me, and I bought Margot during COVID. I probably paid silly COVID price for it back at the time, but I needed Margot like nothing else at the time. Sorry, girlfriend, and family and everyone else. I just had to have it. So I've always wanted one, and here she is. So let me take you on a bit of a tour. So Margot is a 1972 Plaxton Panorama Elite 2, which is on the Bedford VAL twin steer coach chassis. Now you'll see that it has twin steer, otherwise known as a Chinese 6, and that is, there's loads of people make up loads of crap on the internet about why it's called that. It's basically just because back in the 60s, if you called something Chinese, if it was a bit, you know, back to front, weird, not the usual way of doing something. So normally you'd have two wheels at the back and one wheel at the front, but Chinese because the wheels are the wrong way round. So the reason why they did this is because if it was all about the axle loadings, I believe. So if you spread the weight, or maybe the tire loadings, if you spread the weight at the front by adding more wheels, you can make a longer coach. And this only lasted for a few years, but Bedford sort of really innovated in doing this, and that gave them an 11-metre coach basically, which was very long at the time, the longest you could have at the time. So that is why. But then as the laws changed, they did away with those regs, and all the coach manufacturers or chassis manufacturers went back to having single front wheel. Now, so Margot I bought, as I said, as a half done project. I'm going to say more like a 10th done project, but probably the 10th that was done is in a way the most important bit. So the guy who had it before me, he replaced all the aluminium, replaced the window seals, he replaced the wood. So these coaches, they have a channel type frame with a wooden ash or similar hardwood insert into it, and that's where your body screws or nails into. So loads of wood used on these things, and if it's not, well, you can see all these coaches advertised on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, with you know, looking complete, they've got all their skin on, all their paint on the outside, but there are multiple stories of people buying these, putting it on the loader to drive back to their place where they're going to restore it, and all the windows fall out, or many windows fall out. Basically you have to strip it back. There's no way around it, because your panels are basically screwed into rotten wood. So Plaxton's used hardwood, Dupal used plywood, and as you can see, mine has had a floor put in. It's lowered, the guy before me was a bit taller than me, and I'm 6 foot. And basically there's your old floor level there. And the idea was it was just at that height all the way through, so no seats. You know, like if you go in a modern double decker now, you'll have to see the huge wheel tubs sticking up as you walk through the door. Well, same deal with this. He's basically lowered the floor. I don't know why he didn't lower it down to almost chassis level, because he could have done. But it may have involved a bit more work. But I've now got about yay much, more than that maybe, before my head hits the roof. Similarly, if I stand at the side, I'm about 3 or 4 inches below the roof level. So I can't do much for this roof. I have to be quite tight with it. The other wonderment that the previous owner did was he constructed this garage, which was going to be a workshop. He's going to have motorbikes in it. He originally had a divider down there, and him and his mate were going to go off on some world tour or something, European tour, and that would be their beds up there. They'd have all their gear down there, all their welding and paint spraying gear, and yeah, that's what he planned to do with it, and a couple of motorbikes in here. It is an unusual arrangement, that is for sure. My structural engineer friend scratching his head a little bit about it, but I'm not going to change it too much. I'm going to, all these coaches used to have a bracing strip. It was like a flat steel strip all the way along the back, and it was screwed or tacked into these two runners. Mine's all been altered here. This is all new. So whatever was there before is irrelevant. I've now got to deal with what I have. So it's the stress panel, it was called. So basically, yay wide, went all the way up the back, and the idea was any weight in the back would be supported by this stress panel, and obviously, you know, the floor and the rest of the chassis. The boot would be kind of not much further away from where this lump is at the minute. So I'm going to have to put in a lattice box section. I'm thinking of a scaffold beam, mild steel scaffold beam, about 6 meters across there, because basically I've got to attach somewhere around there to the chassis, not these legs, because they're piss weak. They're about 1.5 mil, so not really strong enough for me to brace into. So I'm going to use some nice beefy 6 or 8 mil runners going underneath the chassis here, coming underneath the chassis rail. They don't come along, and I will then cantilever it around here, so that the remainder of these beams will basically pivot on that beam there. So any load in the back will draw up against the chassis there, press down on the center point, the lever, and basically suspend the weight of this area. And there's multiple reasons why I'm going to beef it up even more. It's because I want to tow with it. It's got quite significant bracing down there, which goes underneath this floor. But you know, I want it right. I want it stronger than it needs to be. Basically, that's how I build things: is tough, strong. So yeah. So plan is big double bed here, wardrobe here, and bathroom here, coming out to about there, and then kitchen, little breakout piece there, big L-shaped couch there, log burner, little dinette here, and then she's going to have a deck up on the roof from about a midships back, and that's got a be man bearing to the tune of about 10 people up there. So again, I've spoken to the structural engineer, and we have a plan for supporting the load, because if you look at the roof, it is steel behind there up to there, and then it's wood. So it's this ash bow here, and it's just screwed in with sort of L brackets. Very, you wouldn't do it now, put it that way. There you go. So you'll see pictures of you know, the 90s, the New Age Travellers, Castle Morton, all that stuff, people dancing on the roof of the buses. This is what they're dancing on, but bear in mind, back then these coaches would have been only about 20 years old, if that. So probably still got plenty of life left in them, in terms of their strength, unless they're a duple. I've got to do something with these roof vents here. They are the big scoops that suck up the air from outside, and they would have blown air into the whole parcel shelves, you know, with those little twizzly nozzle things you get on the aeroplanes. Yeah, I've got to do an awful lot, and as I say, I'm doing it with no money. I bought this when I had a bit of money. COVID kind of killed that. And now with the cost of living and anything, you know, I'm really struggling to spend any money on this at all. So luckily I bought a lot of stuff before things got really bad, and I can just hopefully get multiple things done before I have to spend money, and that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. So today's job is putting in one of the 250 litre saddle water tanks. There we go. So these sit like that, one either side of the front wheels. I've made the frames, and got one out there on the table, that's the base. So I just need to get that one up off the ground. Other things I've done all the brakes all the way around. I've restored the wheel tubs, just put a new handbrake cable on it, which I need to finish installing. But yeah, I put the windows in down here. There is a lot of work to do, but she does not have a bit of rust on her anywhere. It's all stripped right back, metal replaced where needed. She's solid, very solid, and she runs. She even has an MOT, and my short-term plan is to just get her skin back on her, and get her drivable at least with a floor in, and then I'll decide if I'm man enough to, or my finances are man enough to get the inside done and turn her into the dream vehicle I always wanted her to be. So yeah, there's the front end up there. Yeah, that's what I got to deal with. There's the door. There's the passenger door, sorry, not passenger door, the emergency door, which is on the driver's side. As you can see, the skin's separated from the frame, kind of burst out, so I need to get all of that done, which is not an easy job. Got my screens, but as you can see, she's all done. No rust at all anywhere. The guy before basically had it all blasted, primed it. Was 8 years ago arguably, but you know, she's in good nick. So there you have it. Hopefully this summer I will make some progress.